Okay. Hi everyone, this is Terry again, Ginger Crafter. It's been requested by a few people after my organization of my stamps video that a few people have requested that I show you how I actually mount my stamps, especially the ones that you have to cut out yourself and mount on cling film. I have found a way to mount on cling film that does not require you cutting through both halves. But first I'm just going to show you the two types of mounts that I do I've stopped mounting all of my stamps on cling film because I have quite a few stamps and I'm finding I'm running out of room, and the cling film takes up quite a bit of space. So I have switched to mounting some of, it just depends on the stamp as to whether I mount it on cling film. I don't really have any guidelines for it. It just depends on what I think I'm going to use the stamps for. With that being said, I'm going to be using chocolate baroque stamps today to demonstrate all my mounting techniques or ways. This first one, as we all know, chocolate baroque, gorgeous stamps by the way, some of my favorites, have the A4 sheets of stamps, and all my stamps are stored in these A5 pockets. So what I do is I run the paper, the A4 master sheet through a laminator, which gives it the shiny coating. And then this is one way I mount them is, these are unmounted. These are just still flat, but as you can see, I cut fairly close to all the stamps and they just fit neatly on there. I fold it over and then they just slide right into the pouch like so, like that. There's one, for the A4s, and I can see the name clearly. I can see the brand, the name of the stamps, and I can see on both sides which ones they are. So that's the first way. Now the second way, which is what's been most requested, is how I mount mine on cling film, such as these, the Macintosh series. Macintosh windows are some that I've already had done, and you can see that they are all cut pretty close to the stamps so that you can still have, you can still see where you're going to set them on the paper, but they have cling film so they're easy to put on your mounts. So this is one of the ways, the main way I'm going to show you today, but as well, this master sheet, the A5, has been put through a laminator again so that it's automatically, the cling film will stick to it. You can see they all stick nicely. And with these, same as with all the others, they fit in the A5 envelopes, and then they just go into my baskets like this so that I just can file through them. Okay, with that being said, I'm first going to show you a couple ways that I mount the stamps that I'm actually laminating another A4 sheet to show you in a minute how I fold it and everything. But I'm going to show you the couple different ways for my unmounted stamps that I use, because there's two different ways that I can use. Here's one of the Christmas ones. So these ones I'm not going to mount on a foam sheet because, one, I have way too many Christmas stamps, and obviously because they're snowflakes I can't get rid of any of them. One, they're chocolate baroque as well. So what I do for this one is Crafter's Companion, the stick and spray, and I think everybody's seen this before for this stamps. I think quite a few demonstrators use it. You just shake up your can and lightly go over your stamps. It's not rocket science or anything. It works. And then you let this sit for a few moments until they get tacky. So we'll let those sit, maybe waft them a little bit. See, they're already getting tacky. Then all I do is on the back of the sheet is I start putting them. There's one. This one that goes on the bottom. This one goes on the bottom. I do try to keep them the same as what's on the front. I know that's a little bit ridiculous, but it just helps me make sure that I have all the stamps back in the right place and that haven't lost any. And then the snowflakes are on top. And then all these little snowflakes are just scattered in here. You see, they all stick really well, and these work really well. They stick as well. And then, again, as I've told you, I've switched to white envelopes because then I can see them more clearly. And there you go. There's my next set, all ready to go. So now I've just recently laminated this A4 sheet, and really it's so easy. All I do is then just fold it in half. Okay, there you go. And then all the stamps I'll probably use the stick and spray for those, but then all the stamps will just fit on here like just an envelope or a folder. And again, this will just slip in its wallet like so, ready to go. Of course, I still have to stick all those, I know that, but we'll do that in a minute. Okay, so then the other way that is nice to stick, I have another Christmas set here. Like I said, some of my Christmas sets I don't usually mount on the foam. So what I'm going to do with this one is I just use a glue stick, Yoo-hoo or Pritt stick or whatever. And all you do is you basically, I can say with this method, you do need to reapply occasionally. But, you know, how hard is this? You know, it's not really that hard at all. So, again, I've had all the stamps all laid out. Now, I do try very hard not to get the glue on the front of the stamps because that will prevent you from being able to get the ink on properly. Not always, but you just like to keep your stamps in the best condition that possible. Okay, yeah, some of them just, and I hope you can see what I'm doing here. I mean, it's basically so very easy. Let's put them on. And this way is good also because you just, everybody has a Pritt stick or a Yoo-hoo stick next to them when they're crafting. So if your stamps need to have more adhesive on them, then you're able to do that. Let me just need a little bit more as you go. So either way, I do them both ways. And then there's your next step that's all ready to go back into the folder. See, they're all stuck on nice and firmly. But there's another set that's ready to go back into its basket. And as you can see, it really is nice having the stamps. See, it's easy to just flip through them, and then you can look at the back and see which ones are there, which ones aren't. Okay, so the reason that I'm here today, the main reason, is how do I cut out my foam mount? Because I hear presentators all the time going on about, you know, just stick the whole sheet of rubber onto the cling film. So I've already cut out most of these feathers. I just, you know, saved it. Most of the presenters go on about put your whole thing on here, then get your Tim Holtz or whatever scissors you want to use, and then cut them out. But you can never get that close to them. So what I do is I just take the stamps, and I'm just going to cut this one feather out first. I take the stamps, and I can get right up next to the stamp without any, I mean, you see how easily and quickly this is going. Another company that, you know, a lot of people aren't buying those Creative Expression stamps off of CPD because, you know, the old school Creative Expression ones, because they're not cut out or mounted. It is so easy to do this step. I mean, this way, it takes the headache out of it, if you ask me. Okay, so see how close I'm able to get to the edge. I hope that focuses. Yeah, there you go. I'm right up on the edge of that. Okay, so it's all waste, but actually, this is funny, but sometimes I save these pieces of rubber when they're a little bit bigger as I've cut them out. I mean, there's not too many pieces on here that I would save, but if they're bigger, because then I've actually used them for circles or squares or just any kind, you know, just basic shapes. You know, crafters, we hate to throw them away, anything away. So now the next step, I've already laminated my master sheet and I've got my folder ready for it. Okay. So the next step is you take your cling film. Today I'm using Cling-a-ling from Chocolate Baroque as well. So I've got a full sheet here. And what I've done is I've taken the stamps that I've cut out and I've just placed them onto the Cling-a-ling. And I've put them as close as I can. You know, I try to do them, logically so that, you know, I might wait on this one because, well, okay. Sorry, I'm going to waste that little bit, and I hate doing it, but just for demonstration purposes, put it all there. So then this whole stamp set, instead of just putting it on, you know, I'm already saving space, because if you can look, the piece of rubber was this big a rectangle. I would have taken up half of this cling-a-ling, if you see, and here I've already saved that much space. And I have little spaces in here that usually when I'm doing this, I will go to other stamp sets. I'll have 3 or 4, however many stamp sets I need to mount, and I'll just fill in all my little spaces. Like as you can see here, I've started filling in all of these little spaces, as I don't like to waste. And to me, putting that big piece of rubber on is wasting that much space on my cling-a-ling. So after I put it on, I put down the sticky, you know, the protector sheet, obviously the waxy side down, and I give them all a real good push. Now, this is the part that everybody thinks is so hard, but since I've already cut out the rubber, it's really quite easy. I take my X-Acto knife, and I have a very new blade, and you might go through a couple blades on this, but I buy these blades in bulk. I buy a little box of like 100 of them at a time. And all you basically do is you start, sorry if my head gets in the way, and you just follow the contour of the rubber around through the cling-a-ling, or, you know, the mount, whatever you decide to use. It works the same for all different companies of foam mount. And there you go. Your stamp is now foam mounted, ready to go on. Oh wait, I forgot to, oh yeah, the other thing is if you take this piece off, it's even easier. So take that off first, and there you go. You're ready to go. I'll do a few more, but you see how little you waste as opposed to what you would have wasted. And the blade just glides right over, you know, right along the rubber. I'm putting almost no pressure on this. So even if you have problems with dexterity or, you know, anything like that, you're still able to do this side. And there you go. You have a set. Pretty soon you'll have a set that's all mounted. So I'm going to do a couple more, because it seems like it's going fairly quickly, I think. And I would, while I'm doing this, I'd like to ask a question of, well, those of you that are watching. I'm going to start doing more videos this year, now that I've, you know, January, and I had a chest infection. In February, I was supposed to have a surgery, which a few of you know, it didn't come through. You know, it kind of got buckled. Anyways, that's beside the point. If any of you want to see any kind of videos, because I'm going to start doing some demonstration videos and just try to having a play and stuff. Something more than just organizing, which, yes, is my first love. Well, not my first. Crafting is my first love. Organizing is my second. Anyways, I babble. Yes, sorry about that. If you guys have anything specific that you want to see or talk about, or you know, want to see me, you know, if you have any questions for me, just let me know. That would be great. Either send me a message or leave a comment underneath this. I'm just in the process of trying to figure out, you know, what direction I want to go. That one's already off. Yeah, I think we have time to finish this whole thing, and that way you can see just how quickly. I mean, I see presenters, and every time I see them talking about mounting stamps, and I just yell into my telly, no, do it this way. It's so much easier and it's less strenuous and less wear and tear on your hands. You know, you use less cling-a-ling. You get a closer cut to your stamp, because if you were to try to cut this close to your stamp when they were already mounted on the foam mount, the foam goes all wonky. You take a big chance of cutting yourself. And yes, I speak from experience on both of those subjects. Now you see there, I have it a little bit off. So even with that, then at that point, I just go back if I'm not quite close enough, and I can just take the little bits off. It really does go quick. I'm on, 3 more stamps. And how long have I been at this? Just a few minutes? I know I cut out most of the rubber ahead of time, but you saw how quick that went. I actually got this stamp set because I am still venturing into junk journaling. And I have, for this year, I'm planning to do a couple peacocks, a couple bee and entomology related, and then I'm going to try to stick with a couple that are definitely in tune with my particular styles. Yes, I know snowflakes are my biggest style, but that's not till Christmas, so those will have to wait till Christmas. But until then, I'm going to do, I'm going to try to do a couple architectural related because of my background. I love architecture, I love design, and then I also love mid-century. So I'm going to try to do a couple that way. I don't know how they'll be received, but I think, why not? Everybody loves vintage, and everybody does their journals to, a lot of stuff that they love. Well, I love architecture, and I love, hold on, sorry. Yeah. And I love mid-century. I'm actually mid-century mad, So, all right, we're on our last stamp, and we've almost got the whole set done. And realistically, really, how long did this take? And how much of a headache have I had? I've been sitting here chatting. I don't know if anybody's listening, but I've been chatting away. And very little effort. Look how nice and clean that is. You do want it to be over a little bit if you can, because that way, if you have it too, well, this one's not very good. I need to go back over that, but let's go back to this one. Here's one. You don't want it to be beveled in, because you want your stamp to, you want it to be able to press on your stamp. So if anything, you want the cling foam to be beveled out a little bit so that it has more pressure, more surface to press. So what I would do at this point is all this stuff down here, I basically, like I said, I try not to waste any of it. I just take it all off. I put the carrier sheet back on it. So now I still have that much, and that's all the cling foam I'm wasting. That's not that much. As opposed to what it would have been if I had put this whole stamp sheet on like that. And then, not to mention, I would have the headache of cutting it out like this, through the foam. So let me get this sorted out right now, and then I'll show you exactly where we are. I just don't know where this one goes. This one goes over here. So there you see, I have a complete set of stamps on cling foam, ready to go into its folder and into the basket. I can tell you, if you want to know what my next organizational project is, because as I've said earlier, I have a lot of stamps, probably way too many, but my next series, or my next step is I'm going to take all of these and I will just stamp them onto copier paper. So I'd have 2 A5 sets to each side, so 4 sets per page, or A6 stamps. I've had 8 of them, and so on and so on. And I have a couple of 3-ring binders that I'm going to be keeping all my stamp sets in, so that instead of having to go through all my baskets and see, oh, where is that one I'm thinking of? I want to use this one. I want to use that one. I can go through my ring binder when I'm working on a project and decide which stamps that I want to use, at which point I go to the baskets and get the ones I want. And then, yeah, so there you go. Well, I hope this was helpful for you today. I hope I didn't jibber jabber too much. Any questions or comments or whatever, I'd love to hear what you think about it in the comments below. And hopefully I'll be back with you real soon. Until then, have a nice day. See you later. Bye.